We heard the phrase a lot ever since Russia invaded Ukraine. Russian warship, go F yourself. It was a message heard around the world, and that message is now a symbol of resistance, and it actually has been symbolized in a stamp. So Ukraine has honored the brave soldiers that stood up to that Moskva warship with a brand new stamp. Here's that stamp. As you can see the blurred version there, he's definitely not only saying it, he's letting them know. Ukraine held a contest in order to get this design, and it started on March 1st to make a stamp based on that phrase. And Boris Gros, he won it with this design. And this stamp release also came in perfect timing because, as we heard, the Ukrainian post office issued that first run of the stamps on April 13th. The next day, as was depicted in that picture, the Moskva ship sank after being struck by a Neptune anti-ship missile, which was fired by Ukraine. Now, since they've released this, as you can tell, just like that phrase has gotten popular, so have these stamps. So the Ukrainian Postal Service issued 1 million of these stamps and is selling 700,000 of them in Ukraine. People are limited to purchasing 16 copies and are lining up around the block and waiting in hours-long lines to purchase their set of these stamps. And of the remaining 300,000 that weren't just sold for the 700,000 in Ukraine, 200,000 are being held back for sale in territories currently controlled by Russia, and the remaining 100,000 were sold online. And they've already become collector's items. Again, only a 10% of these are going as far as these collector items. Ukraine is selling the stamps for face value, which is about $1 a piece. And some eBay listings for an individual stamp are as high as $30, with sets going for as much as $400. And here's that image on eBay as people are selling it, actually $445 at that particular moment. I'm not sure if they're bidding or if it's just stopped there. So all these have sold out, as you can imagine, if those prices are getting that high. But the enemies of Ukraine have taken notice of this popularity, and this is what happens here. So Ukraine's National Postal Service, the Ukposta, I hope I got that right, said it had been hit by a cyber attack today. Ihor Similansky, who's the Director General there, issued an apology to customers for what he said was DDoS, which is distributed denial of service attack, but did not say who might be behind it. But meanwhile, a bunch of people in the world are raising money for Ukraine by making swag and things like this. Let's look at this T-shirt from this particular artist here. His name is Taras Maselko, and they got T-shirts like this. And of course, those things are going to help with to aiding Ukraine in this fight against Russia. And also, one of the bigger one here is also Christian Boris. He's a Canadian journalist. He raised over $1 million to benefit Ukraine by selling merchandise with this image on it. And come on, bro. Don't act like we can have Kentucky Brown Jackson shirts and we don't have ones that will help out with this benefit as well. As 100% of profits donated will go to ransom for Ukraine. That's a shoptyt.com product. Bags, hoodies, and T-shirts. Also on the same.
I wear the Support Ukraine one around my kids. I wear the Russian Warship Go F Yourself when they're not around. Remember, all the proceeds go to help Ukrainians, shoptyt.com. We're such soft-hearted libs, you know? We just, like the right-wingers do their miracle shakes and all their scams and they pocket 100% of the money. We did products for the war in Yemen, for the war in Ukraine, it all goes to human rights. So anyways, by the way, if you didn't get the stamps, go to shoptyt.com, get the shirts. It's not the same design, obviously we did our own design. We should have submitted it for the stamp contest, I didn't know about it. Okay, that was our graphic artist.
They're not $445 though.
No, they are not. But if they were, all the proceeds would go to Ukrainian human rights groups, so helping with refugees. All right, I wanted to say more things about this. So I love that they told the Russian warship to go F itself. I called the shop and I was like, make a T-shirt. Let's give it to the Ukrainians, but we got to do that. I love that so much, right? And then it turns out the Russian warship did go F itself. And it's sick. And what's amazing about that story is that the Ukrainians on Snake Island, it turns out are safe. The Russians, I guess to their credit, didn't kill them. They captured them and then they were somehow recaptured or whatever happened, but they're fine. They didn't die. But a lot of folks on the warship, I don't know how many of them died when this ship sank. I don't know if any of them died when the ship sank, but the ship is gone. And so which leads to one important political/military point. We have to stop spending money on aircraft carriers. They cost $13 billion, and it turns out not just the Russians, our warships are incredibly easy to sink. There are new missiles that are way, way better, and those giant ships are literal sitting ducks. Well, not literal, they're not ducks, but you get it. They're sitting ducks. And so
we should make them invisible like our fighter jets.
That's what Trump thought. He thought our stealth fighters were literally invisible. In that case, he meant literally, like Wonder Woman's jet. No, the radar can't pick them up. They're not actually invisible. All right, Bridget.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love that the Young Turks is raising money for these causes. Go out and buy your shirts. Yeah, I think that you make such a good point. It makes me so angry when I think about all the different things that our military is spending money on that is pointless or easy to destroy, yet we're always hearing like, oh, there's no money for this, there's no money for that. How much stuff are we spending, is our military spending money on that is easy to sink, easy to defeat? It really, when I think about it, I mean, that's such a good point. I'm so glad that you brought it up, because when you think about it, it really just makes me very angry.
Yeah, the Pentagon has one defense system that has cost more than the entire budget of the CDC. The CDC that fights against the pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands of Americans, right? It's just our priorities are insane. By the way, the F-35 doesn't even work. That's a whole nother thing, and we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars. We might have hit $1 trillion now on that, and it doesn't even work, right? And by the way, a ton of our military equipment is just like the Russian military equipment, sitting ducks for the new types of weapons. The drones, the Stinger missiles, the Neptune missiles, the javelins, etc. And we're all snickering at the Russians now. Oh, they got stuck in Ukraine. They thought they were going to win, and they didn't. Well, how did we do in Afghanistan? And the Afghans didn't even have those missiles and drones. The next time we get into any kind of real war, and I swear to you, about a decade ago, Wes Clark Jr. on this program said, hey, you know what? We think we have this giant advantage. We don't, especially in the air. He said the next time we send our jets up there, if we're in a real war with China, for example, they'll just send 1,000 drones up into the sky and take down all of our planes. He was so right, okay? So I bet you the great majority of the money we spend on defense is totally useless.
Well, we know how much we waste. It not even goes to things that get sunk easy, but just things that aren't useful.
Yeah, and last thing, we're sending a lot of weapons to Ukraine, and we should, okay? So the Ukrainians need our help, and I'm glad that we are helping them in this situation. We cannot help with boots on the ground or a no-fly zone, because that could start World War III, and it doesn't help the Ukrainians if we're all dead, okay? Now, having said that, I like that we're sending in weapons, but I don't want you to buy into the mainstream media propaganda. They make it seem like we're building the weapons and sending to them. No, we're sending weapons we already have, otherwise it would take too long to build the weapons. And even the CEO of Raytheon admits that. No, the money is going to the defense contractors to replenish the weapons. And hey, wait a minute, if those are the main weapons that work, why are you guys spending billions on the weapons that don't work? Because the ones we're sending are actually the lighter ones, the easiest ones, the ones that actually take down tanks and ships, etc. So I know I made the story too serious, okay? Go Ukraine, I love the stamps. But at the same time, we can help these countries without spending trillions on defense. We should also think about spending for our own people as well. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.